Let's break down the global economy. It might sound complicated, but at its core, it's simply the way countries, companies, and people all over the world buy, sell, and trade with each other. Every day, trillions of dollars move across borders, connecting distant places in ways we often don't even notice. Picture a massive marketplace that covers the entire planet. Imagine every country as a stall in this gigantic bazaar, each offering its own unique goods and services. From the bustling streets of New York to the markets of Mumbai, everyone is part of this global exchange. Countries are vendors. Japan sells cars, Brazil sells coffee, China sells, well, almost everything. Each nation specializes in what it does best, exporting products and importing what it needs. This specialization helps countries grow richer and more efficient. This interconnected system of buying and selling across borders is the global economy. Goods, services, and even ideas travel thousands of miles, linking people and businesses everywhere. Trade routes crisscross the globe, making it possible for products to reach new markets in record time. It's why you can buy a phone designed in California, assembled in China, and drink Colombian coffee, all in one day. The global economy brings together the best of what the world has to offer, right to your doorstep. But how do countries pay each other? That's where the US dollar comes in. With so many currencies in play, the world needed a common way to settle big transactions. The world's biggest transactions are done in dollars, making it the global reserve currency. Central banks and businesses everywhere hold dollars because they trust its value and stability. Think of it as the official language of global money. Whether you're buying oil, airplanes, or electronics, chances are the deal is done in dollars. This gives the US unique advantages and influence worldwide. The dollar's dominance means the US can borrow more easily and shape global finance. Why does the Federal Reserve's decisions ripple across the globe? It all comes back to the dollar's special status. When the Fed changes interest rates, it affects borrowing costs and investments everywhere, not just in America. It's like owning the world's most popular casino. Everyone plays with your chips. The US sets the rules, and the rest of the world has to pay attention. But how did the dollar become the king of global finance? That story goes back decades, involving wars, treaties, and big economic shifts. Let's explore how history shaped the world's money. To understand the dollar's rise, let's go back to 1944, near the end of World War II. The world's economies were in ruins and needed a stable way to trade. Before the war, countries used the gold standard, but that system collapsed. So, 44 allied nations met in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire to design a new system. The US, with most of the world's gold and a booming economy, took the lead. The result? The Bretton Woods Agreement. The US dollar would be tied to gold and other currencies pegged to the dollar. This made the dollar the world's anchor currency. Countries held dollars instead of gold. The decision set the stage for decades of global economic growth. The dollar's empire began not by conquest, but by a promise backed by gold. The Bretton Woods system fueled decades of growth, but by the late 1960s, cracks appeared. The US was spending heavily on war and social programs, printing more dollars than it had gold to back. Other countries got nervous and started demanding gold for their dollars. US gold reserves shrank fast. The US faced a choice: cut spending or break the gold promise. In 1971, President Nixon ended dollar-gold convertibility. The Nixon shock. The dollar was no longer backed by gold, but by trust in the US government. It became a fiat currency, its value based on confidence, not metal. Surprisingly, the dollar's dominance grew. The world was already so dependent on it, there was no real alternative. The global economy had crossed a point of no return. Trust, not gold, now backed the world's money. After gold was gone, the dollar's role only grew. The global economy was already built around it, like an operating system everyone uses. Contracts, loans, and trade deals were all in dollars. Even today, a Brazilian company buying from South Korea pays in dollars. This happens millions of times a day, creating constant demand for dollars. No law forces this, it's just the easiest way to do business globally. US dollar markets are deep and reliable, making them attractive for trade. The more people use dollars, the more logical it is for others to do the same. A powerful network effect. It's like social media. Everyone's there because everyone else is. This inertia keeps the dollar at the top. Changing the system would be costly and risky for everyone. Oil is the lifeblood of the modern world, and since the 1970s it's been priced almost exclusively in US dollars. After the US left the gold standard, oil exporters worried about the dollar's value. The US struck a deal with Saudi Arabia: price oil in dollars, invest profits in US bonds, and get American protection. Other OPEC countries followed. This petrodollar system created massive artificial demand for dollars. Any country wanting oil, basically all of them, first needs dollars. This replaced the gold standard's demand with oil-driven demand. As long as the world runs on oil, it needs dollars. This cycle funnels money into the US financial system, keeping interest rates low. The petrodollar system has been a cornerstone of US economic power for decades. Oil requires dollars, and that supports the US economy. The world's thirst for oil keeps the dollar in demand. It's a powerful, self-reinforcing loop. Countries don't just use dollars for trade, they save them too. Nations keep huge reserves of foreign currency as a safety net. Over half of these reserves are in US dollars. Why? Practicality. So much global business is in dollars, it makes sense to keep a stash. But, more importantly, safety. US government bonds are seen as the world's safest asset. Lending money to the US is considered a sure bet. The US has a stable economy and a long record of paying its debts. In a crisis, US bonds are the ultimate safe haven. This creates a cycle. Everyone wants US bonds, making them even safer. The US can borrow cheaply thanks to global demand. This global piggy bank cements the dollar's status as king. The world's savings flow into the US, reinforcing its power. The dollar's dominance gives the US what's called an exorbitant privilege. This means that the United States enjoys unique financial advantages that no other country can claim. The US dollar isn't just America's currency, it's the world's reserve currency, trusted and used by governments, businesses, and individuals across the globe. The US can borrow cheaply. Global demand for US bonds keeps interest rates low. Investors everywhere see US debt as a safe haven, so they're eager to buy it, which allows the US government to finance its spending at lower costs than other nations. This lets the US run bigger deficits and spend more on its military and social programs. America can invest in its infrastructure, fund scientific research, and maintain a powerful military presence worldwide, all while relying on the world's appetite for its currency and debt. Other countries risk crisis if their debt grows too large, but the US can just issue more dollars or bonds. When other nations face financial trouble, they often have to cut spending or raise taxes, but the US has more flexibility because of the dollar's special status. The US is insulated from currency crises. It borrows in its own money and can always print more. This ability to create dollars at will means the US can respond to emergencies, like recessions or wars, without the same risks that threaten other economies. This provides unmatched economic security. The US economy is more stable and resilient, able to weather global shocks better than most. The dollar's dominance also gives the US huge geopolitical leverage. America's financial system is deeply woven into the fabric of global trade and diplomacy, giving it influence far beyond its borders. Most international transactions flow through US banks. Whether it's oil, technology, or everyday goods, payments often pass through American financial institutions, reinforcing the dollar's central role. The US can impose financial sanctions, cutting adversaries off from the global economy. This ability to restrict access to dollars can cripple economies and force countries to change their behavior. This weaponization of finance is a powerful tool. No shots fired, but real consequences. It's a form of power that can shape international events without military intervention. The dollar's role is an economic superpower, quietly shaping the world. Its influence is felt in every corner of the globe, from the largest corporations to the smallest local businesses. It's a privilege no other country enjoys. The US sets the rules, and the world follows, giving America a unique position in the global order. The world plays by America's financial rules, making the dollar not just a currency, but a symbol of enduring power and influence. Not everyone loves the dollar's dominance. Countries like Russia and China want to reduce their reliance on it. The euro is the second most held reserve currency, but the eurozone's internal divisions limit its power. China's yuan is a contender, but strict government controls and limited market access hold it back. For a currency to rival the dollar, it must be trusted, freely traded, and backed by a deep, stable market. Cryptocurrencies and digital currencies are too volatile and small for now. Dethroning the dollar would require a massive global shift in trust and infrastructure. The system is so entrenched, switching would be risky and complex. The dollar's dominance is protected by inertia and a lack of credible alternatives. For now, challengers remain on the sidelines. The world may talk about de-dollarization, but action is another story. The dollar's reign continues. So, where are we today? In a world of shifting alliances and rapid technological change, the question of the dollar's dominance is more relevant than ever. Despite facing new challenges from emerging economies and digital currencies, the US dollar remains king. Its influence stretches far beyond America's borders, touching nearly every corner of the global economy. The world is slowly becoming more multipolar, with rising powers seeking a greater role. Yet, the dollar's foundations, built on decades of trust and stability, are still incredibly strong. Its role in global trade, the pricing of oil, and as a safe haven asset during times of crisis is still unmatched. When uncertainty strikes, investors and nations alike flock to the dollar for security. The global financial web is woven with dollar threads. Untangling it would be painful, disruptive, and costly for everyone involved. The dollar is the glue that holds the system together. No other country offers the trust, depth, and stability of U.S. treasuries. Investors know that U.S. debt is backed by the world's largest and most resilient economy, making it the ultimate safe asset. Even countries that want to move away from the dollar are too invested to risk a collapse. Their economies, reserves, and trade relationships are deeply intertwined with the greenback. The dollar's biggest holders are also its biggest hostages. They depend on its stability, even as they quietly search for alternatives. The story of the dollar is about trust, history, and power. It's a currency built on decades of economic leadership, military strength, and diplomatic influence. It rose after World War II, when America emerged as a superpower, and has stayed on top through a mix of smart policy, innovation, and global inertia. The dollar's legacy is one of adaptation and resilience. While its share may slowly erode as new players enter the scene, a world without the dollar at its center is hard to imagine. The alternatives simply aren't ready to take its place. For now, and likely for years to come, the greenback rules the world. Its reign endures, shaping the destiny of nations and the future of global finance.